Hey everybody, this is Mike with Free Roaming Hiker, and in this video I'm talking to you about the gorgeous Lake Solitude Trail in Grand Teton National Park. And regardless of which trailhead you access Lake Solitude from, you are looking at a long day hike. At the shortest, it's going to be about 14 and a half miles, and at the longest, you're looking at about 18 and a half miles. Despite this, it's still one of the most popular trails in the park due to the sense of immersion that you get from just a rugged mountain wilderness. No matter which way you slice it, you're looking at least 15 miles round trip when it's all said and done. So make sure you're properly prepared with enough food, time, and water, and especially water filtration options. Now, if you begin from the South Jenny Lake trailhead, the main Jenny Lake area in Grand Teton National Park, you're looking at both the shortest and the longest options for the hike. How does that work? Because from the trailhead, you have the option to both take the entire hike in or take a shuttle across Jenny Lake, which knocks out about 2 miles each way. You could even also hike in and take the shuttle back out, which a lot of people do, or vice versa. Another option is to access the trail from the String Lake trailhead, bypassing both the shuttle and the most popular stretch of the Jenny Lake Loop altogether. From here, you're looking at roughly 16 and a half miles round trip. Regardless of where you start from, you're going to have to hike at least a portion of Jenny Lake or take the shuttle across. From wherever you start, you'll eventually reach the trail to ascend up to Inspiration Point, passing hidden falls along the way. Now, if you've already seen Inspiration Point, you do have the option to just take the horse trail up to Cascade Canyon just north of the boat dock. Of course, if you haven't seen Inspiration Point, definitely go up Inspiration Point, the standard route. And even if you have once or twice before, are you really there enough to take it for granted? The climb up to Inspiration Point will be the steepest stretch for a little while, but once you're on top, you get some phenomenal views of both Jenny Lake and the Valley of Jackson Hole below. Take in the view, and when you're ready, continue up the trail to ascend into Cascade Canyon. And from here, the trail takes a kind of nice relaxing break in overall elevation gain. Though you are still technically gaining elevation through Cascade Canyon, it's at a pretty gradual pace, so through much of Cascade Canyon, the hiking's pretty easy. What makes this stretch all that more spectacular is the absolutely stunning scenery of the canyon. With the Grand Teton and Mount Owen just towering above to the left, the immense canyon walls are decorated with massive waterfalls pouring over the cliffs. You're also never far from Cascade Creek, which is consistently down and to the left. Sometimes it's rushing by, and sometimes it's a nice slow meandering pace. There's also great chances to see wildlife through this canyon, such as black bears, moose, pika, and much more. So definitely enjoy the stretch because it's a stunning canyon relative to any mountain scene you'll see anywhere. As you near the back of the canyon, you'll notice the trail starts to get a bit steeper and the woods become a little bit more consistent. You'll soon cross over the North Fork of Cascade Creek, and the fork is just a short distance beyond that. For many people, the fork is a day hiking destination, while for others, heading farther into the Tetons, it makes for a nice checkpoint to stop and rest. Whether you choose to rest or not, head right to begin ascending up the North Fork of Cascade Canyon. You'll continue through the woods, crossing over the North Fork of Cascade Creek once again, which, if you need to, is a great place to refill on water. As you continue up, you'll notice that the trail is a little bit steeper than Cascade Canyon, but not too much harder overall. The forest will then soon thin out as the views begin to open up. Ahead, you'll see the massive canyon bending off to the left in the distance, with the unmistakable U-shape left over from glacial erosion. You'll make one more crossing over the North Fork of Cascade Creek, where the trail will then begin to start gaining a little bit more elevation. It's right around this point you'll also enter the North Fork camping zone. From here, it's a straight but hugely scenic shot up to Lake Solitude. You'll pass through boulder fields, small forest groves, and one immense view after another of the cathedral group rising up behind you. In case you're not familiar with that term, the cathedral group, if you're looking from left to right from the North Fork, is comprised of Tewinnot, Mount Owen, and the Grand Teton, which is of course the tallest peak in the Teton Mountains. As you leave the camping zone on the opposite end after a couple more miles of hiking, the trail will get even steeper, where you'll also cross over some runoff from Lake Solitude, which at this point is a large waterfall pouring over the hill along the trail. As you climb up the ridge, you reach a wide and open meadow, and Lake Solitude comes into view just beyond that and below the meadow. Surrounding it are the large cliffs at the back of the North Fork of Cascade Canyon, the view for which you can enjoy by finding one of the many rocks that extend into the lake. So relax and enjoy the view, and when you're ready, head out the same way you came in. Just remember, if you are taking a shuttle back across the lake to save a couple of miles, You'll need to be back at the boat dock before its last run. Otherwise, you will have to hike those 2 miles. The last shuttle time will depend on the time of the season, so make sure you double check before you go to know when you have to be back by. So with that, if you'd like a more detailed write-up of this video, I have a post on my website at freeroaminghiker.com that covers this hike in more detail, and you can read more about it. If you enjoyed this post, please feel free to like and subscribe for a lot more content. And if you have any other questions or comments, definitely leave them down in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and happy trails.